Hey, everybody, welcome to the Arkansas Diamond Report here on Hogville.net YouTube live at Torchy's here in Rogers off Pauline Whitaker Parkway. Come over here, got some margaritas, get your summer kicked off. Also got some great queso. I'm going to tell you what, Dudley, that stuff is, you can make it as hot or as mild as you want, but I'm going to tell you, it seems like the hotter, maybe the better. It kind of brings out the cheese and just the dip itself, man.
Cheese has always been my favorite foods. The cheese dip is good here. I'm trying to try my fourth different taco in 4 weeks.
How was the breakfast taco last week?
Fantastic.
I had the fajita steak tacos, also the smokehouse, I think is what it was. And that was a really good brisket. It was perfect. I want to thank again Torchy's for hosting us here at the rest of this baseball season too as well. Make sure to go on Hogville.net YouTube live, subscribe and like every time we go live with any of the posts from myself and Dudley, Otis, or Kevin. You guys will get that notification on your phone. So make sure to jump on there and like and subscribe to the YouTube page. So Dudley, you got last homestand of the year for Arkansas regular season, Mississippi State. You're going to be on TV all weekend. How does that kind of play as far as some visibility for the Razorbacks, even though they're ranked third in the nation? They've kind of taken the slide back the last couple of weeks, but I almost think that them stepping back a little bit and having a little bit of a rough patch might help them leading into postseason.
We'll see. 31-2 at home, so obviously it's always good for them to play at home. Chris, the Mississippi State head coach, he pointed out that they may be number 3 in the country overall, but they're number 1 in the country when they play at Bob Walker Stadium. I thought that was pretty salient point. Obviously, Arkansas has not been hitting the ball like they wanted to, did not get the hits they needed in Kentucky. It's going to be interesting to see if and how much Kendall Diggs can give you this weekend. He's obviously been battling an injury that suffered a few weeks ago. Re-injured last week by trying to keep a home run from going out. Stepping up, hitting the ball. It's a similar situation I think at Peyton Stovall last year when he's tried to play through pain and it just hadn't been going well for him, and he gets a lot of grief, although he's out there putting his body on the line and all that. It seemed like Friday night he might have been coming out of it 4 RBI, some big doubles that really got them going in that ball game. It was back the other two struggling and battling. The MI story up here a little later goes to the Van Horn mentioned the other day. They just need to be honest with you. They need to be ready to play. So I'm kind of intrigued on what we're going to see out of that this weekend, and also what are we going to see pitching? The last 2 games, both starting pitchers, Brady Tiger, Mason Molina, both 3 innings. You just cannot have that and win series, and they did.
That's one of the things that you keep bringing up both of those pitchers. It kind of brings up my next point is when are we going to see Gage Wood take somebody's spot?
Well, certainly, Coach Van Horn mentioned that earlier last weekend, and talked about how Wade pitched coming in after Brady Tiger to be able to, I think he was 1 1/3 inning. Gave up a few runs, but really pitched the ball well. And as Coach Van Horn said, they're kind of looking at his role. It seems to me that still got Will McIntyre to be that long guy as well. You got 2 guys now that I think can depend on that. He went ahead and went with Mason Molina this weekend, even though in his last 2 starts, he said 6 and 1/3 innings pitched. He had 10 walks during that time, including 7 2 weeks ago. But the Gage Wood has been pitching the ball well. Certainly brings the fastball, but he's got a few other pitches that he's using now that are helping him out. We'll see. As you mentioned when we were talking beforehand, you wonder if you didn't want to start him at home instead of possibly starting at Texas A&M next weekend. What's going to be a big series that starts on Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Certainly, it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays itself out this weekend going into that series. But it could be a move that you make. Certainly, you're going to need 4 starters. Once you get into postseason play, not necessarily the SEC tournament, but the NCAA tournament for sure, regional, and hopefully the Super Regional, you're going to need 4 quality starters. You can't really bring Hagan back Friday and then pitching on Monday, unless you just have to. Obviously, they did it last season, but it's because he didn't pitch well at his first start there. Looking forward to it. Should be a fun weekend. A lot of stuff going on at the ballpark, including I'm sure a lot of fans are going to have fun with the brew pig thing. Having lots of beer at the ballpark. There should be a spirited crowd.
Yeah. So we're still working on the sound, Sean. We'll kind of work with that a little bit here, but so one of the things that I want to bring up really quick. And I want to get your opinion on this because I have an opinion on this too. And you and I were talking about this just a little bit ago. What's the advantage of starting Gage Wood at Texas A&M versus starting him here at home against Mississippi State with the 3 good starts that he's had, possibly cartwheeling that off of a good start at home versus going on the road against a team like Texas A&M that's been on a tear at the plate?
Well, a couple things I could say. You look at Mason Molina, and yes, he's had some control issues, but he has a lot of experience starting. He has a lot of experience. He's actually started at Texas A&M before when they played Tech. When Texas 20 was at Texas Tech, and they're playing Texas A&M. He's had some big games in it. He was an ace last year for Texas Tech. He's had some good innings. He just hadn't been real efficient with his pitches. So I would guess the number one thing, and it was something decided by Coach Van Horn, was the experience thing. Gage pitched really well at home last year. And, certainly didn't pitch as well on the road toward the end of the year. Certainly didn't go well for him. You would hope that the experience would last out, but we'll see. Now down Colin Fisher, now down Hunter Dietz, who really didn't get a chance to pitch much at all this year in a couple of appearances. So your staff is a little less low, a little less deep, and you're going to have some guys, step up, whether it be Will McIntyre, whether it be Gage Wood, Gabe Geigel. The interesting thing is I heard Coach Van Horn say that also Gage Wood could be used as a closer in another one of the games. Could have Geigel closing 2 and Wood closing 1. So we'll see about that.
I know that in the past, Coach Van Horn has been really conservative with the freshmen, making sure that he doesn't, tire their arms out towards the end of the season, and wants to make sure that, they're coming out of high school. They haven't been quite used to the load that you'll see in college baseball versus high school baseball because it's around 2 months longer, a month and a half longer than what they're used to pitching. And, I want to bring this up too here in just a second, but not only the arms, it also seems like the bats this time of year for the last couple of years kind of take that dip, and then you start to see maybe a little bit of a rise towards the end of May. Is it a plate approach? What is it that signals something like this has happened the last couple of years?
Well, I think if I knew for sure, I'd be the hitting coach. That hire me to do that. I do think that it's a combination of factors. Talent level. Arkansas certainly has some great baseball players, at least some very good baseball players. There's nothing going wrong with Peyton Stovall. There's nothing going wrong with Serge Brick-Lott. So there are guys up and down the lineup. I've been McLaughlin's had a fantastic season. Aloy and Nolan Sousa really who hasn't been in the lineup much. And I think you'll see him again this weekend because they are throwing 3 right-handers. Mississippi State throwing 3 right-handers, so I expect to see Sousa in there some because he certainly was on fire there earlier in the season. That's what's going to be interesting, and I'm not even going to begin to try to pronounce his name, but Mississippi State has an ambidextrous pitcher. He's thrown both right and left-handed this year, although he's mostly throwing right-handed right now. Looking forward to that. You've seen a few guys do it in the pros before. Not too many in college, obviously. Looking forward to seeing him pitch. He's the second starter that's the one thing about Mississippi State. Not only do they have a quality offense, they've won 10 out of their last 12 games. They've got 2 stud pitchers that are really good, and you've got one. You're going to go with the Purdue transfer tonight to face off against Hagen Smith. Obviously Arkansas has won all the games that Hagen Smith has pitched. They need to do that again. Certainly, so much easier to win a series when you win the first one than if you lose the first one. 6:30 SEC Network Plus has Friday and Saturday's game. The SEC Network will have Sundays at 2 o'clock for Mother's Day.
Gotcha. I want to go back to the ambidextrous pitcher for just a second. How weird is it whenever you have a glove that you've got 2 thumb holes in? That has got to be the weirdest feeling because, I played for quite a while, played travel ball up until my late teens, and tried out for minor league baseball at one point, way long time ago. But it's got to be one of the weirdest feelings to have two thumb holes in your glove and you're switching it back and forth. It's got, I don't know, I'm sure he's used to it, but to me that would almost kind of throw my rhythm off just a little bit because of just the feel of everything. Because baseball players are such comfort creatures anyway.
Yeah, and I only have the experience that I had a long time ago playing baseball growing up. I was right. My late brother was left-handed. My whole life's been dominated by everything right-handed. I like to sit on the side, all that. Even when I had strokes, they were on the right side instead of the left side. But I did pick up my brother's glove back in the day, and it's just weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I do think left-handers are beautiful to play, and on the mound, they get a lot of money. But it's an interesting thing. Obviously, he feels the Mississippi State pitcher feels more comfortable throwing right-handed now. But we've seen a few guys in the pros over the years that have done this. It is if you can pull it off, it's a great. It's like having 2 pitchers in one out there.
It's an equalizer almost.
Yeah. I do think that to me, and I'll have to look at the splits again, but I do think that left-handers have given Arkansas more trouble this year than right-handers. So I can understand why he might pitch more right-handers. That's what he's been doing lately.
So, I want to bring this up really quick. I think this is a great comment. Michael Kupski, it says, does Charlie Condon have more home runs than the entire baseball lineup? And why does DVH get one guy? Why can't he get one guy like that?
Well, he's had them over the years here. Hadn't obviously lately. I think fully healthy Stovall might not have, certainly last year might not have got 34, but he would have been in the 20s, I think.
Yeah.
Might even this year if he hadn't had the double wild hits off his foot there during the spring. But yeah, it's most of those guys that have a lot of power get a lot of money and turn pro right off the bat. I don't think a lot of people realize Wyatt Langford, who was so good for Florida last year, had 4 at-bats his freshman year. Charlie Condon did not have any bats his freshman year. He was a walk-on and redshirt, and then has become a fantastic player. Obviously, I little biased here, and I think what Hagen Smith has done is is unreal as well. I got to figure he's going to be the pitcher of the year.
Yeah,
but they're going to probably give it to Condon because 34 home runs in a college season is unbelievable. We had another one last night, I think. Maybe 2 last night.
We got one last night.
Yeah. 34 is just nuts. When you talk about, there's not been a lot of guys in college who have been anywhere in that range that he's at right now. Jack Caglione has had a great year as well in Florida. And those 2 guys are, I guess we'd probably give it to Condon. You could argue that Jack has put up enough numbers both on the mound and at the plate to be considered as well.
Yeah.
Those are 3. I think those are the 3 guys that were worthy of being guys that should be the player of the year. Ironically, none of those 3 are in first place. In terms of the SEC. Kentucky has the lead, obviously. Arkansas, Tennessee, a game behind them. Tennessee has some fantastic players obviously as well. But the player of the year race will probably be handed to Condon. Certainly, he's done a lot to put himself in that position. But it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of people vote.
Last 2 years, I want to bring Jack Condon because there's a parallel there I want to bring up. So Jack Condon has got 58 home runs in the last 2 years. He's got 34 this year. Sorry, 59 because he had 34 this year, 25 last year. He'll have, if the season ended today, he did not get another home run for the rest of the season. He would have to only hit 40 home runs to break Pete Incaviglia's record back in 1986, because he holds the OSU and the NCAA record for home runs in a season and in a career.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be playing college ball next year. He's draft eligible. Whether he goes 1 or 2 or maybe 3, I guess. He's going to be a very rich young man next year. Him and the 3 big players that I just mentioned are all going to be very good in the minor leagues next year, which is interesting. We'll see how long they stay. Again, 2 of the better players in the SEC last year started the season on rosters or are going to be on the rosters from Saturday when Paul Skeens gets his first start for the Pittsburgh Pirates against the Chicago Cubs on Saturday.
Ooh, that'd be fun. So, with Kendall Diggs fighting through injury, does it do Coach Van Horn in this lineup any good to possibly rest him up till regionals and pull it down for a little bit and then try to bring him back into the lineup, or just have him keep playing through? Because at first, he didn't even let the staff know really that he was even hurt.
Yeah, and he's been resting all week. He didn't take any batting practice for a couple of days. It's my understanding. So they've tried to do as much as they can to let that rest up. Here's the issue. If you had anybody else that was out in and out, just tearing it up, certainly would probably try to save him this week.
Yeah.
Because we all know that him down the stretch is going to have to be a key for Arkansas. It's similar to Snowball last year being hurt. See it drop off in Arkansas performance. Ross Lovich started some in left field. Will Edmondson. We all know that the best defender out there is Ty Wimsmeyer, but he's not. They're all struggling with Mendoza line. And so that's a quandary that they have. Obviously, Peyton Holt has been a godsend for them. He was on the infield last year. He's been in the outfield down the stretch here. But everybody I've mentioned, except for Wimsmeyer, has made some great plays, but also has had some that, let's be honest, have cost Arkansas innings and possibly cost them in game.
Yes.
And you look back certainly that last Saturday. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Really, there's always seems like a turning point moment in a series where you can point and say, you know what, that might have been it. And with Ross backing up and hitting the fence and not having the warning track to kind of give him a little bit of an idea of, hey, you're getting close to the fence. That I feel like was that turning point last weekend where it was like, okay, well, this is it.
Not a turf guy, never been a turf guy, whether it's football, baseball, whatever. And I realized that being a St. Louis Cardinal fan, watched in the early '80s, and ball bounce all over the place. They had turf. Just Kentucky, has a great baseball program right now. Really impressed with their coach. That feels they're feeling Vanderbilt's school. So I think I mentioned last week, went down to do interviews last year at Vanderbilt, and there was like 6 pieces of gum stuck, near third base, which really affects the ball if it's hit that way. So, but I'm just gotta make sure I say this the right way. I'm a grass guy when it comes to baseball.
So if you guys are for a place to go to lunch, come over to Torchy's either in Rogers off of Pauline Whitaker Parkway, or also at their location on MLK in Fayetteville. Hit up their full service bar, go grab a margarita, go kick off the weekend, kick off the summer. It's just right around the corner. You got a great spring day. You go out there and sit on their patio as well. I'm going to tell you what, I had the that was the steak fajita taco last week. And I'm going to tell you what, that thing was fire. It was so good. And I think I'm going to go back for another one. think I'm going to. How about what did you think about those breakfast tacos?
Love the breakfast tacos. Probably going to try another one today. The wife today is going with the taco of the month.
That's always good. That's a good plan right there. So make sure to hit up any one of the 2 Northwest Arkansas locations here in Rogers or in Fayetteville. And the Torchies in Fayetteville, honestly, is really kind of a stone's throw away from Baum-Walker Stadium. So, if place to go before the game or after the game, or hell, if you can't get into the game, hit up Torchies. It's right down the road. So, I want to fast forward this a little bit. Arkansas had softball at the SEC tournament at Auburn. It was rain delayed last night. They stopped at the top of the 5th inning. And it seems like the momentum, the team that had the momentum going into the break loses it. But Missouri kind of picked it back up this morning, and they eliminated a huge Arkansas threat in the 6th inning to take the game today.
Yeah, and disappointing loss for Arkansas. Obviously, a 4th and 5th seed. I mean, there's some polls that Missouri's ranked higher than Arkansas, so it wasn't that big a difference, not that big a upset, I would say. The issue though was that they couldn't get any hits going early. Finally got a couple of hits. Their pitching with Sierra Harrison and the 2 relievers that came in today, it was just phenomenal. In terms of what they wanted to get out of the series down there. Arkansas just did not come up into big situations. After Callie Alverson had a base hit to load the bases, the reliever came in, making the can. Got the next 3, got a hand of gamble to pop up. Got the strikeouts of the next 2 batters. Yeah, that was pretty much it for all. That was their moment. Didn't get it done. The NCAA tournament bracket will be released Sunday night, I think at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm sure that Arkansas will get one of the 16 host sites, but this and last weekend's Ole Miss series may have kept them from being top 8 seed, which I think they would have been had they beat Ole Miss, at least won the series and gotten a win down there. Now you're battling with Missouri and some other teams to get the national series. But we have seen teams from Arkansas, certainly the softball team, having won 15 of 16 on the road series. We know they can go play at other people's places and win. Like to have done a little bit better closing than out, and I suspect when we hear from Coach Dykler again, that'll be one of the things that she'll talk about. And she'll also talk about how everything's brand new starting. I believe it's next Friday.
Yep. I want to go back to that point this morning in the Missouri game for just a second, because I feel like that could be one of the deciding factors that, like you said too, it's going to make the NCAA committee's decision extremely hard, because you got Arkansas taking the series against Missouri at home.
Yeah, but 2-2 overall in the 4 games they've played now. Yeah, last night's game.
Yeah, this morning. But then you've got that situation where there was bases loaded with no outs. You got Hannah Gamble come up, pops up into the first baseman infield, and then you've got catcher Kennedy Miller strikes out, which she came within 10 feet of a grand slam. You could just see the anguish on her face. She just turned on it just a little bit too much. And then she subs in Rylan Hedgecock, even though Camden's in batting 320 this year, brings in experience, a fifth-year senior in Rylan Hedgecock, and she strikes out as well.
Well, sometimes you trust the numbers. Sometimes you trust the kid. It looked to me right there that Sniper went with they say the experience. It's not like Hannah and too.
Yeah,
Hallie's been around. Like you said, she's a fifth-year senior. Came here as a transfer, but yeah, that inning was just a microcosm of what went on really during the entire game. They just couldn't get the big hits except with Hannah Gamble's home run. And again, you got to give Missouri a lot of credit for what they accomplished. And I will say, I hear, it's all about Jimmy's and Joe. Sometimes it's about the coaches. And I'm going to give Missouri's coach a lot of credit. She when Robin Herron came in, her first pitch was a strikeout. then she put on the old pickle play, as they said, and basically a double steal and got it. It was a big third run. I mean, you could see the not only during when they didn't get the base anything out of the base load, but when Missouri got that third run, I wanted to see what.
Yeah, and it's so interesting with have a game restarts like that. The momentum sitting in the middle of the arena, and it depends on which team picks it up. And it's like Missouri just was able to kind of sneak over and pick it back up again with that insurance run, and that was it.
Yeah, Big Mo left Arkansas immediately after Hannah got that home run. What a big home run! 9-pitch battle, fouled out 4 pitches to get into that, and then just clubbed it. But then Missouri answered right back. We've talked all year about Arkansas baseball team having responsibility and being able to do that, although they're 5-4 in the last 9 games. So it's not as we talked about. It's not clicking the way it was earlier in the season, but not being able to get any runs in the 6th. Plus Missouri coming right out in the 5th inning, getting in the pickle, getting that run, getting a good feeling going very early in the morning. I'm 60 now. I'm getting up a little bit earlier than I used to, but still, I don't function too well doing anything now.
Yeah, so let's go over some of the games this weekend on the baseball scorecard real quick. We mentioned earlier, Jack Condon had a home run last night, and Georgia outslugged South Carolina 14-10, and that right there, I feel like it's 2 heavyweights that were trying to jockey for position, the middle spot, the middle part of the SEC tournament.
Yeah, and I think both of those teams have a chance to go down there and do some damage at Hoover, which I guess is now in 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever you start on Tuesday. Again, I threw out the idea of having that tournament in Atlanta for the fans and the media, since the battery's right there.
Yeah.
Park. Maybe we'll see that someday, but they keep giving the Hoover out in the field because they got all those RV parking spots and all that. But, those are 2 teams that score a lot of runs. Kentucky has obviously scored a lot of runs over the years as well. It's going to be interesting to see just what the narrative, what it's like down there when they do go to the SEC tournament. If you're not going to win it, man, it's really better to barbecue. Sometimes next year it'll be one and done. If they change the format, 16 teams,
and then it's going to be everybody gets to participate, full family event at that point. So a little bit of afternoon baseball, or I should say mid-afternoon baseball. You got Florida and Kentucky taking off. They're in the bottom of the 1st inning, and you can see that on SEC Network Plus. So you got, again,
kind of weird. I didn't understand that why they're playing so early today. But good luck to that. And I'm sure everybody will be keeping eyes on it because obviously, there's a lot of teams right there. And that's one of the reasons where it's up right now. Mississippi State still has an opportunity to not only win the SEC, but still take the Western Division title. Very, very focused. Arkansas has to fend them off this weekend.
Yeah,
Tennessee, obviously, as we said, is a game back in Kentucky. So nothing's been decided yet as we go down the stretch here. And that's what you want really with 6 conference games.
So you've got, again, what we talked about, Georgia and South Carolina tonight at 8:30. That's a late one. Ooh, it's Eastern Standard. Okay, so anyway, moving on. LSU is at Alabama. That one, I want to see if Jay Johnson and the Tigers can kind of right the ship on the road.
Yeah, here comes LSU all of a sudden. I mean, that's a big series win for them last weekend. Texas A&M down 2-3. Texas A&M kind of got going Sunday to get out of something. But that was, we know that LSU has talent. Haven't had the pitching to the point that they would like to this season. It's tough when you lose maybe the best pitcher in baseball. But you don't want to be. They're going to be probably a 3rd seed somewhere in the NCAA tournament. You don't want them coming to your park. You don't want Tommy White.
No, you don't. You don't. You got the I call it the dweller matchup of the weekend. You've got Auburn at Missouri. Not too much to talk about with that one because I think that these might be possibly the two teams that get left at home for the SEC tournament this year.
Certainly where they're at right now. Auburn, is such a great coach. He's such a great guy, but they have really struggled this weekend, and it started when they came up here.
Yeah.
And just couldn't get the hits. And that's back when Arkansas, all three starters were pitching really well. It's interesting. These are the two best ERA teams here this week in Arkansas and Mississippi State.
So you got Tennessee going to Vanderbilt, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to be in Tennessee shoes this weekend because Vanderbilt kind of feels like a wounded animal against the wall a little bit. And I'm thinking Tim Corbin's squad might come out and just smack them in the mouth.
Well, they might, but also they've been toothless at times this year. And
that's kind of usual in Tennessee, though.
Tennessee, the new number one team in the country.
Yep.
That's your rivalry there, although I'm sure it's much more of that. Vanderbilt in baseball and Tennessee in football. In terms of who better win the game, that's so perfect. It's win to Vanderbilt. So we'll see how Tony and Tennessee does this weekend on the turf.
So you've got A&M third in the country, heading over to Ole Miss. I personally think that Arkansas is third because I go by RPI, and A&M second. But you got A&M heading over to Ole Miss, and I feel like they just want to hit the status quo for this weekend, going in hosting Arkansas next weekend.
Yeah, and obviously Arkansas 5 posts, 3 to 5. I kind of used a lot of Division I stuff. Kim Rogers and staff here do a great job. We're at a lot of games, so you see a lot of things, in a lot of in-depth stuff. But I do think that the thing I do know is you go Clemson, Oregon State, East Carolina, those teams in there as well. Texas, suddenly, it's going to be a down the stretch. And I like the first mentioned. Those are the teams that I think we're going to see make the push toward the College World Series. We all know Arkansas has enough pitching, but it's got to be pitching well.
Yeah.
We don't know if they have it. It's been a thing all season, but they're still 40-9. It's sometimes we forget about it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I don't want to bring this up to because the matchup. I feel like the marquee matchup for weekend is Arkansas taking on Mississippi State. Here, the last homestand of the regular season for the Razorbacks, and you got possibly the last regular season start for Hagen Smith here at home. I don't see him sticking around too much longer. I don't think that there's enough NIL money in the coffers to be able to keep that guy here. I think that it's time for him to start his professional career.
But too, that was number 7 pick.
Same here. Aha! There's the rub. There's the rub. So, what is going to be the key this weekend for what part of the lineup could you want to see production from? Say, for instance, the top half of the lineup is struggling a little bit. Is there a certain player that you want to see be able to step up and kind of put their team on their back, maybe 1 or 2 of the games?
Well, obviously, if you're just picking somebody, it's going to be Stovall. Obviously, he leads off. He's up to 363 now, I think, batting. I think that's Peyton Hope is down around 310 now. Let's just be honest. You can't be one guy. It's got to be up and down the lineup. You can get a few defensive guys in there, but everybody's got to hit. Mississippi State's going to hit this weekend. They're going to hit it all.
Yeah.
Whether it's the approach or whatever. But, if I just had to pick a guy, I'll take Ben McCloud. Lefty guy, I'll take Nolan Six. Those 2 guys, going against the 3 right-handers, take Sanders. Excuse me, Mississippi State's. I'm already looking ahead. Mississippi State's throwing this weekend. I think they have the opportunity to really have some good bats, and they bet.
So, Dude, I personally,
it would be really just a kid thing.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know how healthy he's going to be and what he's going to give.
Yep. So you got Mason Molina, you got Brady Tiger. I really feel like they're going to be on a shorter leash this weekend than they have before, but the offense has been putting up runs. But it seems like it's also been the middle relief. So if those guys are able to only go 3 innings and you bring in Will McIntyre, for instance, he has an ERA of 9 over the last month. Is there another – does Dave go back to Will McIntyre, or does he bring another guy back into the fold that you might have seen as much to see, hey, you know what, see if this guy can maybe turn it on a little bit?
It's going to be interesting to see. Again, a question maybe doesn't have an answer until you see how the games play out. We've got as one was saying during the Zoom press conference we had the other day, we just got to play it by ear and see how the games go. I do think that the odds of Arkansas winning the series, if it's the final 2 pitchers combined to go 6 innings, it's virtually it. Yeah, you've got some guys that can come in and give you a lot of innings and McIntyre. So I think you've got some rest this week. Okay, Wood's ready to go. You've got some other guys down there in the bullpen, but suddenly you start looking at a staff that had a ton of people ready to go out there and do something. You're going to have some big performances probably from Cody Frank. He kind of got roughed up there in Kentucky. You're going to have maybe a Dylan Carter for you a few innings this week. And Parker Fuller has had his great moments, has had not so great. It's gonna be Johnny Holstead. You're gonna have them all pitch well because Mississippi State, as we said, is 10 out of 12. Arkansas 5 out of 9. So the 2 teams are kind of headed in different directions.
I think that if you get 4 innings out of Mason Molina, you get 5 innings out of Brady Tiger, I think that's an Arkansas sweep. That's a little bit of a bold statement, but I feel like if you can get, I think that those are the magic numbers for both of those pitchers. I think that they score enough runs and they're able to get to the end of the game. And I think that Arkansas could possibly sweep Mississippi State this weekend.
Well, I would. I'll use a caveat there. I think all 3 of them need to hit 6 innings, and I'm including Hagan too. I think all 3 of them need to be 6 innings for Arkansas to be able to get a sweep. And can't go in looking for a sweep. Certainly, would be great. Can't go in looking for a sweep. You have to go out and get that first game, and then pitch however you need to in the second game to get that one going, so you won't have to depend on Sunday baseball pitching. Whether it be Molina or who pitched. You got Mississippi State's going to go 1 and 2 Sunday. 2 games. I think such key. I believe Hagan will do his part. But you just got to have some more length from those other 2 guys.
Well, it's about that time, my guy. So, everybody, there's 2 locations here in Northwest Arkansas. Torchy's Damn Good Tacos. You got one here on Pauline Whitaker Parkway here in Rogers. You've also got one on Martin Luther King in Fayetteville as well. Make sure to go out and check out their taco of the month. Also, they got the queso that you can pair with a margarita over at the full service bar too. So make sure to come by one of your 2 Torchy's locations here in Northwest Arkansas, and they're going to hook you up. Dudley, take care. I will see you later, and we will be back here next Friday live again at 11:30. Also on the Arkansas Football Report this week, we will have Limbo Parks with myself and with Otis. And so be sure to tune in for that as well, because there was a former Major League Baseball player that has walked on to the University of Arkansas.
Limbo knows him really well.
He knows them really well. And so we're going to talk to Limbo Parks a little bit about Monty Harrison, which, by the way, has a brother Shaq Harrison that I think plays in the NBA. So I think it's going to be a great conversation talking about that. So make sure to join us at 10 a.m. on Sunday for the Arkansas Football Report. For myself and for Dudley, I want to thank you guys for joining us again. We are here live at Torchy's here in Rogers. Y'all take care and go Hogs.